Wait, sorry, I was unmuted. We're going to talk about mockups. So, mockups, if you remember back to the travel site process, this is when you're starting to code your site with a lot of placeholders, with a lot of things that you'll change later on for your final pieces of information, stuff like that. So, since we had a snow day and then some late starts, we lost a significant amount of time. Well, maybe not significant, but some time on our ability to work on these in class. So what I've done to adjust for that is instead of saying at least 6 pages, your page number requirement has been reduced to 4 to 6 pages total is what I'm looking for. So 4 to 6 pages. You can find that in the general info. So if we go to the web design canvas and then the modules, if you go to general info on the final, you can see that I've made an update, and changes updates will always be underlined. So this was yesterday. Now it says your final site must have, actually I'll take the at least off, 4 to 6 fully styled pages. So your page number count has been reduced in an effort to make sure that you guys can actually finish these on time and have enough class time to do stuff. Yeah, it's the first thing I want to talk about. All right. Next thing on the agenda is, remember guys, your mockups become your final submissions. This is just like doing drafts. You're taking different steps of the process along the way so that you make sure you have a thorough amount of completion that will just get refined into your final sites. So use this class time effectively, because your mockup, what you do for your mockup will save you time on the final submission. Final point 4 is the mockup that we're about to start today. It's the last of the develop stage. The last pieces are going to be the finalize stage. That's going to be due during your class's final period, which I think for you guys is Tuesday, right? For first, second. Yeah, I think it's Tuesday. Good morning. And your fully completed site is due Thursday the 25th by midnight. So you have all of your class final days and all of the day after that to finish up your final site. So all right, so that's due. You have until Thursday, the 25th, to finish up these final sites, which gives you 6 days. Let me pull up my calendar here. It was a week yesterday. You have 6 entire days to finish up your final site, including today. So let's get our root folders set up here. This is stuff that you guys are pretty familiar with at this point, but I just want to make sure that it's on record. I'm going to make my way. Let me minimize this. I'm going to make my way to my first period web design folder. I'm going to create a new folder. This project name, and since I scrolled, it went away, but this project name is WD Final, and it's going to be named in the same case that JavaScript is usually named. So the WD is lowercase, and the F is going to be capitalized. So I'm just going to do that real quick. I'm going to rename this, pretend I'm making a new folder from scratch. This is your first in it, yeah. This has to be in the Canvas naming scheme. Some of the other ones have not been so far. But this is B Blakeney P1 underscore WD, oh, caps lock came on, WD capital F final. So that's going to go underneath your unit 7 because it's all following the same scheme, keeping everything nice and organized and in order. I'm going to go into here. You're going to need at least a styles subfolder and at least an SRC subfolder. But remember, JavaScript is optional. You do not need to have JavaScript on your final site, but if you want to, you're going to need to have a scripts subfolder as well inside of there. We have our 3 S's all contained within our root here. It's the exact same root setup we've been doing all year, but I just wanted to get it on record so that you guys have info on what I'm looking for the final specifically. If you just have images, you don't necessarily need to do SRC. You can name these IMG if they're strictly just images. But I like to have an SRC folder just to have options in case I'm using pictures, videos, games, right? Things like that. Other types of files I'll just put in their own folder, their own subfolder inside a subfolder, but I'm also kind of too organized. So whatever works best for you, as long as you have a space for your files, your style sheets, and your JavaScript, if you're using it, you're in a good spot. And now, what we're going to do is open that up in VS Code like we normally do by going to File, Open Folder, and then we're going to open up. What's up?
For like the mockup, can we for the final site, can we just use like the same thing as the mockup?
Yeah. So what you do for your mockup, you'll just finalize into your final site. That's why I'm saying use your class time effectively so that the more work you do for the mockup, the less work you'll have to do for the final. if that makes sense, because it's just going to turn into the final. All right, so I'm just going to make my index page real quick, .html, same old. And this is all going to be different depending on what you guys are doing. I like to put a version number in there, so control question mark to quick comment that out. I'm going to make my main style sheet real quick, final style.css, and Zelda link that underneath or above the titles where I like to put mine. LINK, enter. Subfolder name styles, final style.css like that. And then I'm going to add a quick JavaScript by right-clicking on the script subfolder with the rectangle. New file, final main.js for JavaScript. Remember, the tag to attach a script is exactly that. It's different in the head container because it has a start and an end tag, unlike most of these going on here. Script SRC, and I'm looking, I forgot a little piece of the Zelda link. I'll get that here in just a second. But to attach my script, it's exactly the same SRC as if you were doing an image. So type the name of the subfolder first, and then attach the JavaScript file. And the last thing I need to do here is set my type equal to text/CSS. So what you can do is add some more detail on this comment here and say that the V1 is the mockup. And then as you make changes, as you make different iterations, as you make different versions, as you get closer and closer to the final, you can update that to V2, mockup plus, I don't know, page 1 through 3 content, whatever. Whatever note you want to put, change your version number. That is totally up to you. Mockup stage, just so that it's clear when you reopen this document, what kind of point, what kind of checkpoint you were on when it comes to this folder setup. So what you're doing now is translating the wireframes that you created the other day into what will become your final site. So the reason I have the version number is because you're basically going to be turning in this same root folder during the actual final submission, except it's going to have edits that contains your actual content instead of stuff like placeholders, lorem ipsum, placeholder images, space for images, stuff like that. Exactly the same mockup process that we did for 4.7, I mean. But this time it's for the site of your choosing instead of for the travel guide. Does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions for the general purpose I've shown off? Because I can help you with your specific questions. Again, I want to emphasize, because some people in 2nd and 6th were thinking like, hey, Mr. Blakeney, can I still ask you questions? You absolutely can still ask me questions. This is not, again, remember this final is an example of your skills, but you can still have guidance and you can still have help. It is okay to ask for assistance if something's not working. I'm not going to leave you guys in the cold and expect you to do all this from scratch. So I just want to be clear on that. Okay, are we all good before I start my wandering? Sweet. Okay, thank you guys for listening. Let me know if you have any questions. I will be walking around.